Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Beat Your Addiction with John Giordano. I'm your co-host, Scott Jones. And John, it's been a little bit since we've been together, brother.
Yeah, well, we took a hiatus, and now we're back strong, and let's see how we can help God's kids.
I did not take a hiatus. I don't do drugs anymore. I'm not sure what a hiatus is. I didn't take one.
I'm not sure what it is either.
What is it?
It sounded good.
Hiatus. I love that word. We took a little break. We're back, and we're back in a time when we're still dealing with COVID crisis. We're still dealing with addiction crisis, mental health crisis in the United States. It's more than ever for people to understand about addictions and mental health, isn't it?
Oh boy, let me tell you, it's horrendous what's going on, and our government's doing nothing.
It's I don't know. So if somebody out there can explain to John and I why it makes sense to not deal with these issues, I don't get it. Greatest country in the world, and we're one of the only countries that don't have health care for everybody and mental health for everybody.
Unfortunately, it's about money, power, and control. It's not about lives.
So it's more important that we understand as individuals what we can do to help, and what addiction and mental health issues are out there, right?
Well, that's why we do this, so we can help at least one person. And you help one person, you help a whole family. Most people don't understand that. And doing God's work, all you can do is the best you can do, and that's it. Instead of sit back and just watching, you have to go and do something. And that's what we're doing as best we can.
Absolutely. And I love what you just said. People, please understand, if you've got one member of your family that has a mental health problem or that has an addiction problem, it affects everybody. And everybody needs a certain amount of help, not just the addict, right?
Listen, it's a family disease.
Yeah.
And people got to get that understanding. And it is a dis-ease. And people need help, even if they don't want help because they're in denial and they have all kinds of other things going on in their life. I was in denial. I didn't want any help. They did an intervention on me. That's how I got the treatment. My mother said she wouldn't talk to me again. And says, my mother's not like that, so I'll take a break. And here I am coming up on 38 years in recovery.
38 years.
38 years. I can't even believe it. I didn't think I would have 38 minutes.
Good point. And with that, before we get too far into our show, because we have a great guest we're going to be bringing on for you, I'm going to let John and the guests kind of go and talk about everything. But I want to remind you, if you're watching this, make sure you like this channel, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, share this with your friends. Without people sharing this, it can only go so far. If you like the message, share it with other people, and that's how we can get things out there. We're not out buying big TV time. We're not out trying to find every corner of the earth. That's up to you guys. If you like the content, please share it. Right, John?
Listen, you never know when these words may help a human being and save a life and a family.
And if at any point you want to know more about John Giordano, go to johnjgiordano.com. It's right there on the screen, johnjgiordano.com. You can learn about the different books he's written and learn about all the things that he's done in his life. And you'll find out that he backs up what he says on this show with action in his life. And it's very important that people do that. So what do you say, John? Want to bring our guest in?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to bring in, and this is a new friend of ours. His name is Ray Hurst. He goes by Papa Ray. And Papa Ray, we're going to bring you right in right now. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. So happy to be here. And by the way, congratulations on 30 plus years of recovery. That's amazing.
It's like, you don't even know what's happening. Time goes by and it just flies by. I'm going to be 76 in August. Wow. I'm going 76. Where did that go? How did that happen?
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
So Ray, before we get started, if you could just give us a quick little rundown of what you do, because I know you're involved in coaching, and a lot of what you do is revolved around service to others and helping others. So if you could just give us a little bit of a background of what you do before we start talking.
Sure. I'm a holistic personal transformation coach. One of our specialties is in restoring and improving marriages. My greatest passion is I never want to leave anybody the same as I found them. I want them to be better because they met me, whether that's a client or whether that's somebody I just meet on the street. So my whole goal in life is just to improve anybody and everybody in any way that I can.
I like that. That sounds good, right, John?
Hey, listen, all we can do is put our best foot forward, and it's up to them to get well. We don't make anybody well or get anybody well. They get themselves well.
Yeah. I just want to be that catalyst and hopefully be that, give them something they didn't have, give encouragement and empowerment and lift them up.
Absolutely. People need that today because, most people are kind of like hopeless.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I wrote this book. I just want a chance to show the book because I wrote it's my life story and all the things that has happened to me in life and how I was homeless. I come from a mafia family. My father was a heroin dealer. My uncle was a hitman. Matter of fact, my uncle killed the caterer at my wedding because he insulted him. I turned out to be just like my family. I said I never would be. And on and on and on and on. So this is the book. It's called The Kid from the South Bronx Who Never Gave Up. Wow. And I like to read a little passage, and then we'll get into what you want to talk about. Here is my roadmap for positive change. There is one thing in the world, one special lesson, one constant that has guided me through the turbulent waters of life. This infinite rule, which most people know but ignore, who simply do not follow their life lessons. That is, no matter what, no matter the circumstances, the obstacles, the people that get in our way, or things that slow us down, follow this one simple rule. Never give up on your dreams, never let go of your passions, and especially never give up on yourself or a God of your understanding. And I always say, people, my name is John Giordano, and I'm a recovering addict who turned $300 into $45 million. Now, how that happened, it was God's will, not mine, believe me.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's what I always like to read. And, this is about your story, not my story, but I just wanted to share that with everybody. So this is your show. Go for it.
Wow. So we're talking, you guys talking about mental health and, and that all comes down to what I call emotional awareness. So mental health, is stress. And when you break down stress, what is really stress? Stress is what do you believe about what are you thinking about? So if you're not thinking about something, you can't have stress about it. So what are you thinking about? And what do you believe about what you're thinking about? Now, unfortunately, there was another mass shooting in Texas just the other day, or when was that? Just recently. And there's a lot of just really bad things happening. The political scene, the world, everywhere you turn, there's something that's happening that's not good. Now, how do I look at myself in that situation? Now, I can't change the fact that a lot of these events that are happening are horrific. They're very, very wrong and just very devastating. But where I get stressed out and become emotionally unstable, by the way, I suffered through 2 major depressions. So I kind of understand a little bit about it, is as I look at all these events, how do I look at myself in that event? And how do I look at that event? How does it affect me? Now, the wars in Ukraine and the political turmoil and all the chaos that we're seeing everywhere. You pick one, there's hundreds of them, literally thousands of them. But that doesn't mean I need to inject myself into any of these conflicts. It doesn't mean that I have to put myself into that, especially when it's affecting my mental health. If I'm being stressed out and overwhelmed to the point where I'm deteriorating my life, is it really okay for me to get consumed with that stuff? I don't think it is. I think we need to take control of what we allow to come in to our mind, into our eyes, into our ears. Very, very important. So again, you can't be stressed out about something that you're not thinking about. So how you look at and how you believe about everything that you're hearing and seeing and how it relates to you is causing your breakdown. Now, if watching the news, listening to the political stuff, if that is causing you emotional stress, you need to stop. You really need to stop doing it because it's like hitting myself in the head with a hammer because it feels so good when I stop. Well, what did I gain from that? I didn't gain anything. It just, I keep running back to this bad news because I'm just hoping something's going to get better. Well, the truth is, it's probably not going to get better, but I need to get better by stopping consuming that stuff. So it's my fear that makes me run back to that narrative. Now, what's really intriguing about this is how I help my clients overcome their anxieties, their trauma, uh, and the things that they dealt with in their past, because literally everything is in our past, is we got to go and look at, so here's a new event that's coming, or we perceive it's coming. We have to say, okay, where is my mind going to come up with what I believe is about to happen in the next moment? So my brain is constantly researching my whole life, every moment of the day, to determine what is about to happen in the next moment. Where is the primary information coming from? The primary information about what you believe is going to happen is coming from the core, which is conception to 10 years old. Now, this is really super fascinating. In the speed of light, in a nanosecond, your brain researches primarily that core of your life to determine what is going to happen. When you perceive what is about to happen in the next moment, it checks in with your emotions. Hey, are we good? Am I happy? Do I like this person? Am I in a good spot? Am I not? And depending on your state of emotions, it's going to release cortisol and adrenaline are the two major drugs that's going to get released in your body. Your body generates them. Or serotonin and dopamine. Serotonin and dopamine are your happy drugs and you're happy-go-lucky. Cortisol and adrenaline are simply to keep you safe. So adrenaline just makes you stronger, gets your heart beating, dilates your pupils, drives up your saliva, shuts down your organs, so you can go into stress response, the fight or flight. Now, it's really critical to understand what the cortisol does. So here comes this event. Your brain does a research in a nanosecond, comes back and says, it's probably not going to work out so well. It didn't work out so well in the past. And yeah, we're not in a good mood. Yeah, let's react to stay safe. Cortisol takes your cognitive thinking processing ability, greatly diminishes it to keep you safe. It takes your creativity away. It takes that ability to think reasonably and rationally to the point is I need to be safe. I got to do whatever I have to do to be safe. You ever see anybody really smart, intelligent person do something completely stupid? That's because the cortisol. You'll see a very, very intelligent person do something completely out of whack that makes no sense because the cortisol is designed to take your creativity away so that you can respond in a way to be safe.
I'm glad you're talking about neurochemicals. One of the things that's often overlooked is your microbiome or your microbiota. That's the flora in your gut. And dopamine and serotonin is manufactured in your gut. 90% of it goes up the vagus nerve and deposits the rest of it into your brain. Now, all these chemicals and all these emotions, people usually live in the past and they live in the future and they don't deal with the present. And there are no failures in life. People think they have failures. No, failures are only lessons. Those are your lessons. Now, what you get out of those lessons is what creates the next lesson. So everything you're saying is right on the money. What people need to realize, like we were talking earlier about relationships. Now, I was married. This is the 4th time I've been married. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of an expert on what not to do. I'll put it to you that way. I'm together now 26 years with my wife. We have a great relationship. And what I learned about relationships is it's not about the other person. It's about me.
Yeah.
It's how I view the world. And that's what I think we're talking about is our view of the world, because that's what colors the way we look at life.
So what I find fascinating is, where did your brain get that information that what is about to happen in the next moment is not a good thing?
Well,
Especially when you're not in a good state of mind, you're not happy, things are not going well, you're going to go in that stress response much, much quicker. Your
well,
brain,
the bottom line is it's how you look at those events which causes the stress. And quite often people don't realize there's a lot of stress that we go through that we don't realize it. There's such a thing as thermal stress. When you go from cool to heat or vice versa. You can't find your sock in the morning. Your coffee's cold, whatever. And these little stresses keep on building. And now you got different emotional events that go on. So it just compounds everything. And if you're not looking at life through a lens of from all your history and see what you need to do, how to circumvent all that, you're going to keep doing what you always done and keep getting what you always got.
yeah. That's what I teach my clients is the first thing we do is we sit down, they talk about what they're struggling with. I say, okay, what you're struggling with in the moment is not the real problem. It is, what is it tying to back in your core, conception to 10, that it's reminding you of? So when you're between conception and 10 years old, your brain is in hyper neuroplasticity, literally taking in way more information than you do as an adult. Now, as it sucks in all that information at a high rate of speed, it can't categorize and say, hey, dad's just busy and he's not having a good day. And that's why he just kind of like blew me off. No, the child's like, oh my gosh, dad don't love me. Boom, registered, off to the next event. A second later, the next event happens. The problem, that event got stored in that child's brain as truth. Now, as an adult, that child's brain's doing the research. What does this future event mean based on what all the past events meant? What I do has been very, very successful is go back to the first event. So whatever you're struggling with in the moment, we trace it back to the first event where it happened. We change the meaning at that first event. For my example, my father left when I was 4 years old. I had to struggle with every male authority figure, pastors, teachers, bosses, anybody in authority. I struggled tremendously until I came out of my second major depression, 5 minutes away from suicide. The Holy Spirit showed me, Ray, nobody's coming to fix it. And about 3 days later, he said, Ray, they were broken and empty. They couldn't give you what they didn't have. When I changed the meaning of my father leaving my family to the fact that my father was broken and empty and he couldn't give anything to me, what he didn't have, it radically changed my view of people in authority.
Absolutely. You're talking about the psychological part, but you see, here's a part that most people don't get. There's a medical part also, okay? And it has nothing to do with your psychological part. All right, what does that mean? Okay, if you have a low thyroid, you're going to have depression and anxiety. If you have hypoglycemia, you're going low blood sugar, you're going to have depression and anxiety. If you have leaky gut syndrome, H. pylori infection, you're going to have depression and anxiety. If you have closed-end injuries, you're going to have depression, anxiety, and behavioral problems. So as you can see, low testosterone and high testosterone causes depression and anxiety. We're not looking at that. If you're not looking at the whole comprehensive approach to helping people, then you're running short, okay? Most of us are trained to just look at the psychological piece, inner child work, trauma work. I'm a traumatologist. I work with people coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, police officers that have been in shootings. But I learned. I'm saying to myself, there's got to be something more than just the way we view the world. And since we're basically hormonal, bacterial, and chemical components in our bodies, we got to take into consideration that we have to take a look at that. And see, that's what's not happening. None of us are really taking a look at all these things, because the other thing's the shiny object. Daddy left you when you were 10. So therefore you went through all those things. So that is a component. Mm-hmm. That is a good piece of it. But what is that trauma causing you? What is that stress causing you medically? You see, we're not looking at that. Most therapists or most treatment centers do not look at these things, just like heavy metals, mercury, lead, antimony, arsenic, causes neurotransmission interruption, mimics bipolar disorder and attention deficit disorder. So that's what I lecture about, and I do it in the wheelhouse of doctors that understand this. Okay.
Yeah.
So who's going to argue with that if you have a low thyroid, you can't possibly have depression and anxiety? Nobody. So let's give you Prozac. Oh, wait a second. That doesn't work for your thyroid. You see, and all the medications, and I'm not against medication, okay, but all these medications were meant for short-term intervention, not a long-term.
Yeah,
and that's why they don't work very well, because they're also toxic. So it's very difficult, but they save a lot of lives. But if people don't work with what you're doing, what I'm talking about, and they don't work on the whole problem, okay, they're going to keep relapsing with depression. Sometimes it's not situational. Sometimes it's just biochemical.
We're a three-part being. We're body, soul, and spirit, and we need to keep them all three healthy and balanced.
Spirituality is the foundation of any kind of recovery, I believe. Not religion, spirituality.
Oh yeah. And you know what? Unfortunately, people don't understand spirituality, especially Christians. Do not understand who we are as a spiritual being. They refer to the Bible as being spiritual. No, that's theological. Spiritual is who are you as a spirit being?
Well, you have a spirit, you have a soul. Okay. Spirituality, people go, well, what do you mean by spirituality? Just like when you said holistic. Do you know most people don't understand what you said? Okay. Okay. So what does holistic mean? If you look it up in the dictionary, it means holism. Okay. Looking at things comprehensively. And that's where people fall short. They don't understand the terminology. They think it's airy fairyland. Okay. So these are the things that we take for granted when we're speaking, but we don't realize that a lot of people don't even understand what we're talking about. Spirituality is an independent thought. To me, it's learn to be kind instead of right. Don't hurt yourself or another human being. Reach out and help people less fortunate than you. Do your best not to lie, cheat, or steal, or to hurt anyone. Real simple stuff.
Yeah. And people, hey, you can't go to all the personal development seminars and read all the books and go to McDonald's every day and eat junk food. That's detrimental. And if you're not watching what you're taking into your body with all that junk, it don't matter what personal development seminars you're going to and buying all the books and listening to all the podcasts. It's a three-part being. Is you got to balance all three of them.
Well, that's interesting you said that, and I'm glad you did, because what we ingest, okay, causes us to have our minds change in the way we look at the world too. People don't get that, especially with your spirituality, your food, your thoughts. Like you say, thoughts create chemical reactions in the body.
Yeah,
most people don't understand that. So if you hold on to a thought long enough, you're going to create whatever you're trying to create. Even not even knowing you're creating it. And that's why when I tell people, look, do your best not to do processed food and sugars, number one.
Yes.
Okay. Eat more vegetables and stuff like that. Okay. Be kind to yourself. Learn how to do meditation. It's only been around for thousands of years. You know,
Yeah.
simple stuff. Talk to somebody about what's going on. Don't hold your stuff in because you're like a boiler. All of a sudden, you explode. So, the work that you're doing and the work that we're doing, Scott and I here, is so important. People need to understand. First of all, exercise gets rid of stress and increases dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good drugs. So you need to get a holistic approach to life. Holism.
I find it fascinating how your negative thoughts can literally, and no, not can, they literally destroy the cellular structure of your body.
Absolutely.
And a good one for that is Dr. Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton talk about epigenetics and how the environment of your thoughts go to the very cellular structure of your body. And it's a really interesting story here. Is I noticed one lady at church. She looked a little bit at some anxiety. So I went to her and I said, I just feel like maybe you might be struggling with some anxiety. She shared about her father and how she had issues with her dad. She said, I worked through that for years in counseling. I said, well, I had given your husband my book, Daddy, Why Don't You Love Me? A Father's Blessing and Healing the Wounds of the Absent Abusive Father. The next week she came, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, oh, I need to go to the doctor because my gut is just in major turmoil. I can't keep anything down. It's just really, really bad. She came back the next week. She goes, oh my gosh, I read your book and my symptoms are gone. Now, I'm not saying my book is going to heal anybody. What I'm just saying is her thought and belief process about her and who she was radically changed when she read the book and felt loved as a daughter. So what happened, and you know what happened, is she changed how she thought, and that negative self-condemning wasn't no longer destroying her body.
Well, you talked about epigenetics. What a lot of people don't understand about epigenetics means that the social environment can change the gene expression.
Oh, huge.
So I work with Dr. Ken Blum. He's the geneticist who found the addiction gene. There is an addiction gene. The main gene, there's other genes, but that's the main gene. It's called the DRD2 ALE1 variant gene. And just because you have that gene doesn't mean you're going to become an addict, because there's such a thing as epigenetics, which we just said about the social environment can change the gene expression. So you're 100% correct, okay, about epigenetics. And what you're saying, people need to understand that what you're telling people, what we're sharing with people, just listen. Don't believe a word we tell you. Give it a shot. And if it doesn't work for you, don't do it.
The biggest thing I would say to people, and I love what you said, the social anxiety, is who are you listening to? Who has your ear? You cannot be listening to everything and everybody. My news feeds on my social media are very, very positive and very upbeat because I very carefully guard my news feed. You say one negative thing and you're unfollowed. You say something really stupid, you're unfriended. Instantly. I don't give them a second chance. I don't at 60 years old, I don't have time to filter that out and just like try to backpedal on what you just did. No, I'm not going to let it happen again. And the same thing with people and my friends. If they're negative, I don't give them a second chance. I'll tell them, look, this is not who I am. It's not what I want to hear. If they do it again, I'm done. I just really distance myself and guard myself from allowing that to come in.
Well, what people don't understand, I believe, is I didn't understand it either, but my belief system says when you are negative, you attract negativity.
Oh,
and
huge.
that energy goes out into the universe. And just like when you do positive things, you attract positive things into your life. And people say, well, you don't understand. I got this going on. I got that going on. I have this going. If you don't have anything going on, that means you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff you got going on is because of how you think.
That's right.
So you're attracting that. And so it's really hard to go from a negative thinking, acting person to being a positive person. But if you don't work at it, guess what's going to happen? It's like you're pushing the ball up the hill. You stop pushing the ball up the hill, it's going to roll back down. So if you don't actively pursue positive relationships, positive input, guess what? You're going to find the negative. It's going to be there. And if you're not actively guarding your eyes, guarding your ears, guarding the people who have access to you, you're going to find the negative because it's there everywhere.
Well, it's like the two wolves story. It's one wolf is altruistic and the spiritual, and the other one's negative and this. So the story goes is, which is the more powerful? Well, it's the one you feed.
Yeah.
It's real simple stuff. So I think we're running short of time.
Gentlemen, I got to jump in because we have just burned through the show very quickly with some great information and some great conversation. Before we wrap up, Ray, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us here on Beat Your Addiction.
Right? Keep doing God's work, man. Save God's kids.
Yeah.
And, where are you located there, Ray?
I'm in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, but I do travel internationally.
Oh, excellent. I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia, so the other Pennsylvania.
Is that Pennsylvania Dutch?
Yeah, it's Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm right here in the Amish country, right here in Lancaster County.
All right.
Oh, beautiful. I just spent a lot of time up in Jim Thorpe. I love it up there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Terrific area up there. I want to thank you again for joining us, and we want people to check you out. They can go to your website, ilapnow.com. It's ilapnow.com. And what are they going to find when they go to your website, and what can you do for people, Ray?
So as a holistic personal transformation coach, I just help people deal with the stress and the struggles. We do specialize in marriage restoration and marriage improvement. It's something I'm very passionate about. And overall, we're just looking to help people be better people by dealing with their negative past. We just want to help them to be better.
And you draw that from your history. So which is even better because you know what it was like to go through what you went through.
Yeah, it was horrible. And if I can help anybody not have to go through what I went through, that's a win.
Okay.
Excellent. And if they have any more questions, they can certainly reach out to you, 717-475-6711. And it's not like just to talk to somebody. They got to you'll talk to them and find out if you're a good fit for them and everything, right?
Yeah. We're not obviously nobody's a good fit for everybody. Not everybody's a good fit for everybody. We are very straightforward. We're not here to be your friend. We're here to be your coach. We want to have the win. We're not here to sit and listen to your story. We're here to help you overcome.
You help to rewrite their story. There you go.
There you go. I like that. I'm here to help you write a new story. Yes.
All righty.
Well, Ray, once again, Papa Ray, thank you very much for joining us. Perhaps we'll readdress this one day again soon. But in the meantime, thank you very much, and I hope everybody reaches out and spends some time with you.
Awesome.
Well, you have a blessed day, Papa.
Hey, you too.
All right.
I'll tell you what, we're going to slide you to the back room for a minute. If you could just hold on, we'll be right back with you off the air for a minute. All right. So we've been talking to Papa Ray Hurst, and you saw the information there. John, great guest.
Yeah, listen, whenever you're helping people, listen, we don't have answers for anybody. People have their own answers, but we do the best we can to share information. And what fits for you, fits for you. What doesn't, just throw it away.
That's absolutely right. And if you want some more information about John and everything he does, again, go to johnjgiordano.com. Make sure that you like this podcast and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, share it with your friends. And John, they can pick up a copy of your book as well.
Yep, The Kid from the South Bronx Who Never Gave Up. Matter of fact, it may be becoming a movie. We're out there doing that with Captain Sandy from Below Deck. She's my producer. That television show, she's a star of it, and I'll see what happens. All I know is I'm doing my best to show people that to never give up on life.
Okay. Who would you, if you had to choose somebody to play you, who would you like?
If I had to choose somebody to play me.
I knew he was going to say it. I knew he was going to say that. The hell with Brad Pitt. John's going to do it.
I'll do it myself. Who knows me better than me?
There you go. All right. With that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You've been watching Beat Your Addiction with John Giordano. We'll catch you next time.
All right.